Welcome to Everything You Need to Know About the Ascension of Humanity, the podcast where ancient wisdom meets modern science and spiritual evolution gets real. I'm Heather, an energy healer, channel, and spiritual coach with Divine Ascension Company. Each week, we're diving deep into the mysteries of human consciousness, spiritual awakening, and the profound transformation happening within us and around us. But here's the thing. We're not doing this with our heads in the clouds. We're bringing neuroscience, psychology, quantum physics, and cutting-edge research to the table alongside meditation, energy work, and timeless spiritual teachings. Because the truth is, the ascension of humanity isn't some far-off cosmic event. It's happening right now in the choices we make, the awareness we cultivate, and the healing we do within ourselves. Whether you're curious about how mindfulness literally rewires your brain, why shadow work is backed by depth psychology, or what coherence between your heart and mind actually means scientifically, you're in the right place. We'll explore practices like breathwork, meditation, and emotional alchemy, not as abstract concepts, but as tangible tools grounded in both spiritual wisdom and scientific understanding. And here's where it gets even better. In our bonus episodes, you'll hear from real people sharing real stories. These are the warriors, the healers, the everyday seekers who've walked through their own darkness and found their light. They'll share their breakthroughs, their struggles, and the resources that actually helped them along the way. Because personal growth isn't a solo journey, and you deserve to know you're not alone. So whether you're just beginning to question the nature of reality, or you're deep in your spiritual practice, this podcast is your companion on the path. It's time to expand, to awaken, and to rise together. Let's begin. So, I speak light language. And when today's guest started describing the modality that she practices, I thought I knew what was coming. But I did not. Kathryn is a holistic health practitioner, counselor, Reiki Master, and sound therapist who combines cognitive behavioral techniques with energy healing to get to the root of what's happening across the mental, emotional, and energetic bodies, all at once. She walked away from a career track in clinical therapy after a single visit to a psychiatric facility showed her what she did not want to be a part of. Then she built a thriving career in entertainment production, watched it stop feeding her soul, and found her way to yoga, Reiki, sound healing, and eventually, the modality that stopped me mid-sentence when she was describing it. Kathryn is trained in an ancient Mayan light language, a visual practice using specific shapes and colors to anchor energy and set intention. Not channeled speech, not toning, visual, geometric, completely unlike anything else I've had on this show. In this episode, we talk about why traditional therapy often misses the root, the problem with treating the DSM-5 like a checklist, what it looks like when a life looks perfect on paper but feels completely hollow, and how the shapes, colors, and grids of this Mayan light language actually work. I'm getting a grid done myself, so stay tuned for that. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. We have a very special guest today, Kathryn, and she is another holistic healer. She does a lot of really cool stuff with different modalities that we're going to learn about today, including a unique form of light language that she practices that I'm excited for everyone to hear about. Kathryn, how are you doing today?
Hi, Heather. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Absolutely. So why don't you go ahead and get started and tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. A holistic health practitioner. I specialize in emotional support coaching, allowing people to really learn about their emotions and start to develop more emotional awareness, building up their emotional intelligence with the use of cognitive behavioral therapeutic techniques, sound healing, and Reiki. So it's a combination that really goes far deeper than just the cognitive and mental level. We're going into the emotional side and the energetic side as well, so that we're getting the trifecta and really targeting the root issue a little bit faster than what would happen in only traditional talk therapy.
Yeah. I think that's amazing. I do a lot of the scientific and spiritual stuff in my healing practice as well. And I think the problem with therapy is that and I'm just speaking from personal experience being in the field, but also having therapists growing up, is that like you're talking through your problems and you're giving advice, but you're not really getting to the root cause of the issue. You're kind of only dealing with the symptoms. And since everything is energy, once you bring in that other aspect, that other layer to it, whether it's energy healing, sound healing, inner child healing, whatever it is, you really get to get the full picture of what is happening and how you can really get to the bottom of it and solve it in a very tangible and long-lasting way.
Exactly. And that's been my experience with talk therapy as well. And I'm not knocking therapy. I do think it can be helpful. I'm a counselor as well. I do think that it is best when paired with other modalities because
Mhm.
as you said, you're just looking at the symptoms and the symptoms are what's on the surface and the symptoms are not the cause, they're the result of the cause. So we need to go deeper and look for where this is rooted, where it's living in the body, in the emotional body, and the energetic body as well, so that we're clearing all three of those systems and offering space to start reprogramming for new thought patterns, new emotional patterns, which will ultimately shift your energy dramatically.
Absolutely. So what made you get into Reiki and sound therapy over any of the other multiple modalities that are out there?
It was my own personal story. It was my attraction to these modalities. It was one that I did not expect to have. If someone told me 10 years ago that I would be a sound therapist and a Reiki master, helping people through energy work as opposed to being a clinical therapist, which is what I was being trained in at the time, I would have laughed and been like, nope, not your person. That is not who I am. And when, so I was being trained as a clinical therapist, and that's what I really wanted to do when I was in undergrad. I was also majoring in theater for production management.
Oh, wow.
And when we went to mental, a mental health facility that was kind of more of like an institution, I just remember walking around that facility. It looked like something that could have been out of the movie Girl Interrupted, if you're familiar.
Yeah.
And I found out later on that it was the second choice location for that movie.
Oh, wow.
And walking around, like, one, I already had like the creep factor because I was like, this does feel like something out of that movie. And when we were walking by the various patients that were there, they just seemed so out of it. Like they were in a comatose state, but awake.
Yeah.
And their eyes felt hollow to me, like I couldn't even feel a human in there. Like I didn't feel any energy. And at that point in my life, I wasn't energetically aware or attuned to Reiki. I've always been empathic and didn't realize that until later on in my life. So I just felt so distraught by the state that these people were in, and I didn't want to be a part of that.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
don't
want
blame
to
you.
contribute to that. I didn't want to just prescribe people medications that would do that
Hmm.
to to them. And that deterred me from pursuing that career further because I was just like, I don't know if there's another way. If this is the way to do it, I don't want that. So I focused on theater and I developed a pretty good career and reputation as a project manager in entertainment for themed events. Was working at a reputable company, one of the six major studios within LA, and was also on track to go overseas and live in Dubai for a few months to work on an attraction over there for another park. And in that whole time, though my life sounded great on paper, I had this cute little house I was living in. I had a long-term relationship. I had the career. And whenever I would tell people what I did, they would get so blown away. They're like, wow, that's amazing. And in
Hmm.
my head, I would just look at them and stare. And I'm like, why don't I feel what they feel as I describe my job? Why do I feel mad? Why do I feel hollow? And that led me down a depressive spiral where I was leaning more towards alcohol and cannabis to numb those feelings. Also, in the entertainment industry, it's very easy to, like, it's almost expected that you're gonna go out for drinks with the people you work with and talk shop at some point.
Understandable. Yeah.
It's- yeah. And I didn't want to believe that I had an issue or a reliance on alcohol because I would just create that excuse of, oh, it's social. I only do it for work.
Hmm.
But when you're doing it every day or every other day, then it's not so social.
Right.
And so that habit then became an addiction. And it wasn't until I had like just a low moment where I was now going through a breakup and I was leaning more heavily into my vices to get through that. And luckily, I had a wake up call moment where I just realized how depressing my life had become. I was like, I wake up, I literally rush from the moment I wake up to get out the door, to go to a job that I'm not fulfilled with, to then sitting in meetings wondering like when can I smoke my next bowl? Or like I'm so forward to going home where I can hit this joint, drink a bottle of wine. Like those aren't thoughts you should have in the workplace if you really love it.
Right.
I would come home, I would do those things, fall asleep on the couch, wake up in the middle of the night and be like, oh, I should go to the bed. And I would. And I'm like, no, this isn't going to change unless I change it.
Right.
And I asked myself, what can I do? What is something that I enjoy doing that I know that I will enjoy if I just do like one hour? What can I do? And what came to me right away without thinking was yoga. And I had developed a yoga practice years prior. As my career started to take off more and more, I lost that practice because I was so focused on growing my career and gaining that reputation. So I told myself I didn't have time for it and that it didn't really help me. However, I know when I had my regular yoga practice, my mood was better. I didn't react as much. It was easier for me to handle more stressful situations. So I made the time to start going back to yoga. It started as just once a week, and then it became twice a week. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just get a membership, a monthly membership to the studio instead of buying classes. And from there, I really wanted to deepen my understanding of yoga for myself. And I took a yoga teacher training that's when I got exposed to Reiki and sound therapy.
Nice.
And that's what led me here.
Awesome. That's great. And it's so interesting because there's so many people that I've talked to, not just on the podcast, but just, through networking and doing business, that they all seem to say, not all of them, but a good lot of them say like, oh yes, I had this career, I was a CEO, I had all the things, they look good on paper, but I felt empty. And, we're so trained by society to be like, okay, go to college, get married, have kids, build this career, like make a name for yourself, make a legacy, make all this money, buy the nice car, have the white picket fence. But it's like,
Hmm.
that isn't ideal for everyone. Not everyone enjoys that. And to make that like the status quo, the little box that you're supposed to fit in, so many people, especially in this industry that we're in now, come from that place and they're like, it didn't do anything for me. And then a lot of us go through transitory periods. Like I had a similar experience. I was in the psychology field. I wanted to be a child psychiatrist. But once I learned about the medical program and where it came from and what it consisted of and what it was actually neglecting to even bring into it, like the holistic part of it, I was like, I'm
Right.
doing this. Like, I don't think medication is a long-term answer. It causes more problems than it solves. And especially when you're working with kids who their brains are still so malleable and they're still developing to pump them full of pills is just not the answer. So transitioning into a more holistic approach and addressing things in, with those layers, like I said earlier, just brings a whole new game. Like it's a whole new game. It's a whole new ball field. And it just, I don't know, it resonates so much more with me than the traditional, like, is it in the DSM-5? If not, then you're crazy. Let's lock you away and throw away the key. Like that doesn't make sense to me.
Oh my gosh, but don't like the DSM-5. Yes, it's a great resource, and there's so much grayscale that a lot of people don't really talk about because in order to qualify for any, I'm sure you know this, any, disorders listed in the DSM-5, you just need to check off 6 symptoms. And there's a list for some of them of like 12 or 18 things.
Hmm.
And what if you're at 5, but then it's a grayscale? Or what if the 6th thing you're like, oh, well, sometimes when I'm in like a very stressful panic state, like it's to me it's kind of arbitrary a little bit at points
Hmm.
because it's this random checklist and a lot of those symptoms that they list, are on several other illnesses and disorders within that manual as well.
Oh
So,
yeah, there's tons of overlap. And there's so much of
hmm
like, and even the time, like, oh, you have to for 2 months or longer, or this plus this equals this. And it's like, well, it's been happening for 2 months or longer, but it happens like once a year. Like, you know what I mean? I don't
hmm
know. It's just, I,
Yeah, there's
yeah.
so much variance to it, and some people who are more academically inclined, I feel like are like, oh, well, this is the checklist. Okay,
Hmm.
nope, that counts. And they aren't taking into account the full spectrum of the situation, which is why I appreciate holistic health and holistic medicine so much more than the Western viewpoint of it. I don't think the Western view should be ignored completely because there is some good knowledge in there. And let's let's also bring in holistic health to this because that's looking at the whole person, the
Right.
environmental, the energy, their diet, and a lot like those things aren't even looked at in Western medicine.
Absolutely. Yeah. One day it'll change. We're getting there, right?
Yeah,
Slowly.
and that's what, all these podcasts are about, right? Like there's so many people like you who are creating platforms for people to talk about these things. And that does fill me with hope because it shows that humanity as a whole is opening up to hearing new perspectives, new ideas.
Hmm. And that's the thing, just finding the right people to talk to about it, because so many people, especially in in the field of science, they just don't give you that safe space to even like bring up those ideas. They're just like, no, 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 no. And like you said, like that analytical, logical mind, they're like, this is the checklist. It's black and white. Like, that's not how life is. Like, life isn't black and white. There's so much that goes into a person's system that makes the whole thing work together. You know, you have your nature versus nurture debate. You have the environmental
Hmm.
factors, diet, exercise, life experiences, perspective, and emotions. And you have to kind of address all of those things on top of the energy, which is kind of the root of everything. So when you only look at one of those aspects and not the whole thing, like you're really just possibly causing more harm than good, because you're trying to fix something that's not affecting, like, not working the whole system, but also like you're not making any long-term effects. You're just giving them a quick fix, which isn't the answer.
Yeah, it's just a band-aid. And as you mentioned earlier, sometimes those medications do more harm than good. There are more side effects than there are that actually can help sometimes.
Hmm.
Uh, So it's just really important to educate yourself on all different options.
Hmm. Absolutely. So tell us more about this light language that you do.
Thank
I'm
you for,
fascinated by it. Yeah, I've never heard, I told you this before, I've never heard of this kind of light language, and I speak light language, but you do something way completely different. And I've never had anybody else on the show talk about it, so I'm really excited for people to hear about it.
yeah, thank you for asking because I feel like this is a perfect segue because this light language is all about energy. And the light language that I'm trained in is an ancient Mayan light language. So traditionally, or more commonly, I should say, you hear people who know how to speak light language, which kind of sounds like galactic
Gibberish.
tongues. Yeah.
Let's be honest. It's fun, but
Yes.
it's silly. Yeah.
And this light language is visual. So it uses a variety of shapes and colors to help anchor in a specific energy that you're working with. So there are, and it's from the Mayan traditions. I was taught by someone who learned from the Star Fuentes, who was an American and had met a Mayan lineage when she was living in Mexico for years. And they taught her this light language. And when you're, they were so strict that when they were teaching her, because they would write stuff in the sand and like talk about the different colors, and she would want to write notes. And they would always take them away from her. And they're like, no, you're not allowed to write notes. You need to learn and like feel all of this to really know it. So it comes more from an embodiment of
Hmm.
how you connect with the energy. And when she did come to back to the States, she did create a few different manuals. So it is nice being a student, learning that, to have all of that in text and to have references to refer to as I need. And so there is a seven chakra grid that you can do for a person where you can help anchor in qualities like peace, ease, calmness. So if you're a really anxious person, you could have a seven chakra grid done to help you start to embody the energy of calmness. Then there are what I'm going to do for you, or in process of doing for you, is a 49/7 chakra grid. And those are things that you can use for life situations. So say you want to, bring in prosperity for your business or for your family. That's what a 49/7 chakra grid would be good for. Or it could be to give you a fulfilled, happy, loving relationship. If you're starting a business, you could have a grid for that. So it's been a really fun process. I was initiated into this back in 2023. So it's actually been 3 years since I've been working with this specific light language. And I have to say, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. How exactly does it work? Like you're talking about a grid and colors and shapes, but like how you don't have to tell me your process, but like how does it actually work? How do you bring those energies in? What do the colors and shapes mean?
So there are tons of different shapes. And I am trained to the intermediate level. So when I go to advanced, I'm going to learn, I think I get access to 150 more shapes that I am not allowed to use at this point in my process. So right now, I believe I already have about 100 different shapes. I haven't counted them all. But some of the basic shapes, like spears are great if you are working on trying to figure out your direction or you want to keep your options open. And so if you are really focused on doing some healing, like a green spear would be something that you'd want to use because you're calling in healing from all directions and you might not know the full scope of your healing. Like maybe for you, you're thinking it's only physical, but with a spirit, it's also going to embody all of the healing that you need. So if that's on an emotional level as well, then that will give you the boost to call that healing in as well. Squares are foundational, and because they're so stable, you often don't want to use a lot of squares if you're trying to build something because it is putting you in a box.
Hmm.
And so a, a a square would be good if you're really wanting to anchor in stability or like create a very strong foundation for your root chakra. If we were designing a 7 chakra grid for your person. And triangles are great for focus. So I like to use triangles when you're wanting to enhance your intuition. You're really wanting to focus in on a specific topic or area in your life. And then there are also cones, and cones are one of them is like an ice cream cone, and then one of them is almost like a megaphone. And so the ice cream cone, you're filtrating the information down. So you might have like a broad array of things that you are interested in, and you really want to focus in on one or two things. So that's when the ice cream cone shape would come in handy. And the megaphone is like you've got a message and you're ready to share it with the world.
Hmm.
So those are just some examples of shapes, a little bit of colors. And so when we started, we just got, the basic colors in correspondence with the chakras. And so red is a very grounding color, has vitality to it. Orange is for passion. It can also be really healing in a lot of ways as well. Yellow inspires confidence, power, motivation. Green is that loving, healing energy, also a little bit of community. And then blue is that for expressing, creating open lines of communication. The indigo color for insight, clarity, and violet for the connection to the universal consciousness. And there are also colors like silver, which is connecting to a not quite Christ consciousness, because that is what gold is reserved for. Gold is like Christ consciousness, really, really potent, targeted healing. And silver is connecting you to like the surrounding cosmos.
Hmm.
So it gets pretty deep and esoteric, and as a Scorpio, I love that.
So once you create a grid for someone, what do they do with it? Like, is it a tool that they use and they have to do some kind of work? Is it just like a roadmap of some kind?
So the process of making a grid, as I was sharing with you, is we create a title for it. And the title is really your intention and your goal. So what is it that you're intending to do? And we make it a goal by putting target date on there. And from there, once I have that intention and goal set, then I will build the 49 shape chakra grid and activate it once it's done. And when you receive it, you want to put it in a space where you are going to see it like every day. You don't have to stare at it all day, but you want to be able to have it in a space where you're going to see it at least once every single day so that you can really continue to infuse it with your own energy and also feel the energy coming from the grid and pulling into your body. I guide people to do a meditation with it the first few days that they have it, really like the first 3 to 5 days. And it can be, it is a simple meditation where you just do some eye gazing with it. You put it up in a space that you feel comfortable with. If you want to put soothing music on in the background that you enjoy, maybe light some incense or have an oil diffuser going in the background, just creating a very intentional, calming space for yourself. And put the grid in front of you and start just by like gazing in the very center of it and gradually let your eyes kind of guide you around the grid to the shapes and to the areas that call for your that just pull your attention over there. Just allow yourself to follow it without questioning it and notice what you're feeling in the different areas. Is it inspiring something? Do you feel motivated? Are you just entranced with the different shapes. Is there a color that you're more drawn to one day versus the other day? Is there a specific shape or section of the grid that you keep gravitating towards? So let yourself notice that. And of course, like I want to I want to know how these things are going, so I'll check in and see what you got or how you felt with it from each day for the first week that you have it. And I'm here to answer any of the questions. I can tell you like what the areas, if there are certain areas that you're gravitating to, what that would mean. And after that, you're welcome to continue doing the meditation. Some people will do it, for a month if they really feel inspired. Some people, they'll do it for that week. And then when they feel called to spend some extra time with it, they'll do that practice again. So it can be something that you do on and off as you feel called. And that energy is still working whether or not you're staring or looking at the grid. So something that is another practice that I do is when I'm creating a grid for someone, also creating a grid for a greater community. So you can go in and we're asking the universe to direct energy to a specific person for a specific intention. And as a gift to the universe, to the earth, we're going to create another grid for a larger community, whether those be homeless or kids living in poverty. There's really so much that we could do, especially in our social and political climate in the world right now, to
For sure.
help benefit humanity.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, so it's an involved process and it's been really fun to learn because when I was first learning it, we spent the first section at the beginner level, you're really only learning the seven chakra grid. And you can also emanate shapes and send them to people. And that's really what got me interested in it. Because when I do Reiki, I see, I feel what they're feeling through shapes and colors.
Oh, wow. So that's
And
perfect.
yes. And so when I found out about this, it was very serendipitous. I had just met a new friend and we were going on a beach walk and she started telling me about this ancient Mayan light language and I was like, "Wait a minute. Can you just like show me some of the shapes? Because I think I've seen these before." And she's like, "Yeah, sure." So she pulled up an email from the instructor and just like showed me one or two pages. And I was like, "Yeah. I use some of these in my healings already. I guess I should learn this." And she's like, "Well, we start in 2 days. So I'll just send you the contact for the teacher and you can reach out to her and see if you can enroll in the course." And so I did.
Nice. It's funny how things like that work together and come in exactly when you need them.
Yes, it's really funny because I was wanting to call in a teacher, and at the same time that I was doing that, I have been attuned to Reiki since 2017. No, 2016. And in 2017 was when I had completed the level two. And so I had been a level two Reiki practitioner for several years before I felt called to do the master level. And so I had been calling in a Reiki master and another teacher because I was like, I feel like I'm just like at a plateau with my energy work and I know it's time to learn more. Like I feel like I have really developed a good understanding of where I'm at, the level two, and within 2 weeks of really focusing on that, I found a Reiki master that I wanted to work with. And then this teacher came in. So I was doing both of those at the same time,
Oh, wow.
which which was intense. And my one friend even checked in and she was like, "Are you alive? Are you okay?" I'm, I'm like, "Yes, I'm alive. I have so much energy moving through me. I do not have the space for socializing right now, but thank you for checking in."
Yeah, I can only imagine how intense that would be. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds amazing. It sounds like a lot of fun and it sounds like it's super helpful, especially the fact that you get to build a second one to share with the collective, whichever collective you decide to. That really is amazing because every time I learn something new through meditation or through channeling or my own modality, it's like I always find a way to share it with the collective because it's as above, so below, right? So
Yes.
you want to make sure you're doing the individual healing and helping your clients and helping yourself, but also radiating it outward and sharing it with everyone.
Exactly. And that's what I love so much about this practice is because it is a big reminder that not only are you allowing yourself to receive, you're also continuing to give, right? Because
Mhm.
it is a circle and a cycle. So
Yeah,
you want to keep both sides open. And the teacher was so adamant about how important it is to make sure that when you do a custom grid for yourself or for somebody else, that you're also doing one for the collective as, for the betterment of that society, of that civilization.
I love that. Love that. Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see how you respond to your grid.
I'm excited about it. I've been looking forward to it.
Yes, I'm going to be working on that and refining that title for you this weekend. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. I can't wait. So, how would people be able to find you if they want to take part in your healing services or get a light language grid done? How would they find you?
I am on social media on TikTok and Instagram under Eipl Healing. That's EIPL Healing. You can also go to my website, eiplhealing.com, and there's a contact page. You can contact me directly on the website itself. My website and phone, or my email and phone number are also listed on the website. So you can send me a text, you can send me an email and get in touch with me through there. You can also schedule a complimentary 20-minute session with me or a consultation to really talk about what it is that you're looking for and what offering would be the best fit for you.
Awesome. Great. I'll make sure I include all of that in the description so people can find you.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I'm all about uplifting each other. I keep seeing this quote, this meme circulating around about how like the sky would be really dark if only one star was shining or something along those lines. And I'm like, there's so many people in the world that need help. Like we need to support each other because we can't, like one person can't do everything. So I'm all about having that supportive space. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. And I believe that we're all stronger together, right? Like,
For sure.
why are so many people competing? If we
Mhm.
get on the same page and work together, we'll achieve so much more. I'm so appreciative and thankful of the platform that you have created and are creating for the community. because I think it is exactly what we need at this time.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. It was an absolute pleasure to speak with you today.
Thank you. I've enjoyed our conversation. I'm looking forward to getting into your grid. I'm
Yes, and
excited.
yep, and I'm excited to get you your Akashic Records reading too. I'm looking forward to that. It won't take nearly as long as making the grid, so I'm just waiting for you to be ready.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome. If you're ready to stop surviving the ascension and start actually moving through it with a map, the Self-Spirit method was built for exactly where you are. And if you want a little taste of what that might look like, my book, Becoming Divine, is now available. It's the foundation, the framework, and the permission slip all in one place. Find the program and the link to purchase the book at divineascensionco.com. You were never meant to figure this out alone. I'm here. Let's do this together.